con Massimo Graziato, Grand Prix ISV, ricordiamo 25 le formazioni.
Welcome to stage 6 of the Tour of Turkey, the 48th running of this terrific event, and glorious sunshine, as you can see at the start today, as we headed from Bodrum to Kuzdazi this evening. Time for all of those who've kind of lit the firmament here to sign on. Andrej Greipel has to take his spectacles off. It's a softer look when he does. Time then for those who haven't managed to get some stage victories to think about it, possibly a little bit more than they have been so far. Alexander Vinokurov, part of that Astana team that's perhaps underachieved, you might say, but they would say probably not if you look at the overall. Diachenko still with very much a chance of doing something here. AG2R, they've been kind of busy, I think you might say. Roman Bardet, he really has been a revelation, the work rate that he's put in. But the leader looks uncatchable at the moment. Ivayo Gabrovski, there he is. Diachenko for Astana, and Petrov, as you can see, from Kaya Roral, under the 140 mark. But still, it is a very healthy advantage that they have. As far as the jerseys are concerned, Gabrovski then, he's wearing one and having the other nursed for him. Marco Bandiera in the King of the Mountains jersey. The last climb, incidentally, today, and I can tell you, because I'm not sure we're going to be able to see the pictures, they've already been over the only King of the Mountains, and Bandiera finished that one in second behind Duarte, and the 3 points mean that he now has secured that King of the Mountains red jersey. This was the rollout this morning. The leader's blue jersey at the head of the pack, and yes, I think the peloton generally feeling a little bit bruised by the exploits indeed of the Konya Turku Sekerspor. No doubt about it, they certainly have been in the thick of it, and so it has proven today. They have been busy. Well, I'm Carlton Kirby, alongside me Brian Smith, and you see Henrik Redon there of United Healthcare, and a man with a smile on his face, because they've actually managed to get Philippe Degnan up in the escape today, and I can tell you, with 76 kilometres remaining, the gap is 1:28 back to the leader's jersey, and I think we're going to pick up pictures with the leader before you know it. There he is. But I can tell you that United Healthcare are in the break today, hence Henrik's big cheesy smile. It's hard to find a man who smiles more than him. He's ever the optimist. We'll see how he goes today. Golas and Belkov, the other two riders in that now whittled down escape group of 3. There were 21 riders up the road. It was a little bit fractious, but now we've settled down. It looks like, with 1:28, the gap. Of those, Golas is perhaps the biggest danger. Well, he is at 3 minutes and 2, his deficit in the overall. So we mentioned Brian Smith. Here he is.
How you doing, Carlton?
Good. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. It's hard not to feel in a good mood when you see this sort of scenery.
Yeah, it's fantastic again. Nice blue skies, nice and hot, and a very fast start to today's stage. We left Bodrum earlier on today, and it was fast right from the start, as predicted. I think what they wanted to do was give the riders that were chasing hard yesterday, especially the Utensilor team and some of the team from Accent Jobs, they were riding hard on the front, and you know, a few of the other teams were questioning why they were riding on the front. So quite a lot of the World Tour teams went on the attack right from the start. The race was splitting up because what they wanted to do is put these riders under pressure with a hard day yesterday and get them out of the way, and isolate the man in the jersey at the moment, the Bulgarian riding for the Turkish team, Konya Grabovski. They've managed to do that. We're splitting up quite a bit earlier on. It's settled down the race. We've got these 3 riders off the front, Philip Dijknam, Golash, who Carlton just said is the best placed in overall, 3 minutes and 2 seconds. He's the rider at the back. In the red, you've got Belkov from Katusha. He's just taken the beauty sprint, taken another 5 points, so he becomes the leader of that competition. And as another jersey changing hands, as Carlton earlier said, the second place for Bandiera taking the King of the Mountains. So with 2 jerseys changing hands today, there's still a possibility of the overall leader changing hands again today. So again, stage 6 is turning out to be a very exciting day.
Well, let's hope so, because a lot of teams were, well, miffed, to say the very least, that Konya Turku-Sekor, and particularly Ivaio Gabrovski, who's had a colourful past. He is the man wearing the blue jersey, the turquoise jersey, the leader's jersey here. And as you can see, he has been kept busy. He's also been very much kept marks. That's the main bunch. Just before we came to air, I might add, the second bunch had a bit of a tumble. As yet, we've got no word as to any injuries. And we think that everyone managed to get back on bike, but we'll keep you posted. And as a result, we've got a bit of a split. 4 minutes and 15 now back on the leading trio up front. But absolutely at the point of the B group here, minute and 28 down. So the main chasers. As you can see, Turku still doing an enormous turn, and it's all for Gabrovski in the leader's jersey. I still think it looks pretty safe for him, but right now, you can't say. With 74 kilometres to go, anything can happen in this game. And with the team starting to be in bullying mode, well, hold on to your hats. It's going to get exciting. We'll take a break. Welcome back. 72 kilometres remaining. 1 minute and 40 back to the group which contains the leader's jersey, the turquoise jersey, on the back of Ivaio Gabrovski. He is having to do all the work. I think he's got one teammate with him because he has teammates and his friends, let's put it that way, at Utensil Nord. A number of those are also trapped in the second group here. The split, incidentally, was not caused by the crash that we mentioned just before the break. That crash just happened to take place within the second group who are chasing on here. It also does include Bandiera, who has secured the King of the Mountains red jersey today. If you're only just joining us, he came second in the last climb of this year's tour behind Duarte, and as a result, he had started the day level on points with Gabrovski, who, for whom he was nursing that jersey. Now it belongs to him. So 72 to go. It's an awful long road, this. Brian, you're predicting that Gabrovski's going to cede this jersey today. He's not going to do anything but have to try and chase on, and he already, after the freshness of his demeanour over the last couple of days, he's already looking like he's suffering a bit.
I'm not too sure if he's suffering personally himself. He's only got one rider in front of him, and you know, one rider trying to bring back three riders. When you consider Belkov, big strong Russian rider from Katusha, he's 8 minutes and 4 seconds off the overall lead. Dignam possibly having a word overnight by his team manager Henrik Redant. He's sitting 5 minutes and 8 seconds off the lead, but Golash is a strong Polish rider from Omega Pharma, 3 minutes and 2 seconds, and as we can see, the gap from this man to the three in front is creeping up to 1 minute and 44 seconds all the time. The race actually split in three. The front two capes game together, and there was a counter attack, and that's why the three riders are now off the fronts. So with the three groups splitting up, the front two came together. We've got I would say about 50 plus riders in front. Just sitting back there is Astana Vinokurov's team. Behind them you've got a good number of riders from Britann Schuler. Palomares is in there with about 4 of his other teammates for Andalusia in the blue. But if we can remember, yesterday we had Utensil Nord and Accent Jobs, plus the Bulgarian champions team of Kajaruau, all kind of helping out the chase towards the end. As we can see, the numbers, so just one of the Utensil Nord going through the picture at the moment. Looks like Leif Host at the back for Accent Jobs. And it looks as if Kajaruau might have one rider with Andanov at the moment. So the numbers aren't there to help what they did yesterday. So Grabowski is more isolated today, and that's why all the teams went on the attack today, because there was a lot of it was a heavy road yesterday, and I have to take my hat off to the winner yesterday, because I went back out that road towards Bodrum, turned and came back in, and it was really stiff kind of headwind and very energy sapping, especially for me. I don't know what it would be like for him after 178 kilometres, but yeah, a very difficult day. The roads don't look too difficult, but they're really heavy and hard, and a lot of chasing yesterday left a lot of dead legs this morning. And when he took off from the start from Bodrum towards Kusadasi, this is what's happened. The race split to pieces. Front two groups have come together, and just as the front two groups came together, you had these three riders of Belkov, Golash and Dijknum forming this three-man breakaway.
Absolutely. If you want to know how rough the road is, look at the hands. Don't forget that this camera irons out an awful lot of tremors as well. You can see it is quite punishing out there. I had a quick ride back into yesterday's course this morning, just about 45 minutes or so. But Ryan, yesterday you were talking about the wind that really was something of a sapper. And take nothing away from Andrea Di Corrado. His win yesterday, he said, was spurred on because he'd lost his grandfather, who was very close to last Friday. And he did it for him. He did it in some style as well. In fact, the roar went up when he came into the dining area yesterday, and his teammates still joshing with him, treating him like a young kid, really. He's 23, he's not exactly a boy, but yeah, what a way to open up your Palmares as a pro by taking a victory and doing it against the wind as well as everybody else. It really was super. A really nice story last night. So here we are, head of the race, and what about these three then? Well, we have Maxim Belkov of Katusha, European time trial champion, which is pretty handy skill when you get into this sort of situation. He's the Katusha rider in the red, currently second within that trio. Philip Degnan of United Healthcare. Great to see that Henrik Redon took your advice.
What advice was that?
Well, you want to tell him to light it up, and he has done. And yeah, off he has gone. Took a stage, of course, in the Vuelta in 2009. A lot of expectation on Philip's shoulders, of course, because we've had some terrific Irish riders in the past, and yes, it's a heavy burden, I think, to carry that sort of thing when you've had the success that Ireland have had. You know the names. Well, there's a new one, and that's Philip Degnan. He's been around for a little while, but today, well, he's got a chance to shine brightly up front as well. Maxim Belkov of Katusha, we've mentioned. And what about Golas? Yes, he was king of the mountains in the Tour of Poland last year. The Tour of Poland this year falls, I think, behind the Tour de France. So I don't know whether Golas will be going over there to defend that. We'll see, but he can get over the lumpy stuff. Is it going to be a sprint today, Brian?
Very much doubt it now.
Yeah.
These three riders in front, Belkov, Golash and Dijknen, have got a healthy advantage, and you know, the guys queuing up behind the race leader and his one-man team in front of him will attack all the way to the finish if this does come back. I'm predicting a small group will come to the finish. I can't see this all staying together. He'll get attacked all the way to Kusadasi today. But just look at the time gap to Group 2. Group 2 has been led by Europcar and Cajurual. They're trying to come back to the front of this race. So there's a possibility it could all come back together, but I think there's too much racing still to be had in the last 68 kilometres.
Well, part of me kind of hopes it will. It's extremely fast finish, by the way, today. And we were a bit scared when we came into the finish line. Hello. We've had a knock here, and is that Greipel who's just resting on here, waiting for his teammate to get back up, but it doesn't. He's in no hurry here at all. Greipel is standing, by the way. It's.
I would think it would be Adam Hansen.
It is. He thinks it's a collarbone. Well, that's a shame if it is. Certainly no hurry, and I think he sent Greipel away here, which suggests he's picked up a collarbone injury, and that is not nice. Adam Hansen, who Greipel tried to tee up a couple of days ago in the climb, I think it was for tie-up to Murray's, and or was it the big climb into no, it was just after. Yes,
it started in Fetcher and finished in Marmaris.
There we are. That's what I said first time. Yes, I backed out of it because of this, the rather threatening look that Brian Smith threw me. There we go. But yes, he has been certainly doing a lot of work, Greipel, and was getting ready to relay, but he's been sent away, I think, still hanging around. Oh, this is just a replay. Just going back and having a look at it before the medics got there, but looks like collarbone, Brian.
Yeah, you don't know. He's been badly winded. The second group just passing him now, and nice to see Greipel stop and try and help him out. He knows he's the best in the overall, so it was good to see him stop. But I can't see him. I can't see Hansen continuing now. He tried to get up, but now his team are with him, and it's going to be very difficult to see him continue.
Let's just have a look and see whether we can catch anything from this. No, just out of shot. Well, the Europe car rider's getting into the tangle there, and he's gone down on his right-hand side. Well, we'll take a break, I think, and then we'll be back in just a few moments' time. Welcome back. Our friend from Europe car who was involved in the crash a few moments ago, David Villa, is just getting back on, as you can see. And I've got to tell you, we have no further news of Adam Hansen. Safe to say that I think he has abandoned. His team are with him. It looked like they were going for the bike just as we switched back up front. We'll get a condition report from Radio Tour for you a little bit later. Not, as you saw, life-threatening, but not a nice thing to happen on a day like today as well, when you start to think towards the end. We were just alluding to the finish today. Here is that little cobbled section that, when it appeared in the notes yesterday, a number of riders were eyebrows went up. It's kind of marble, this stuff, and it can get a bit slippy, I might add. All safely through so far anyway, giving it the due respect that it deserves. Yes, down at the finish line, it's extraordinarily narrow. Very narrow indeed. And as a result, we were thinking if it is going to start to look like a blanket finish, it's going to cause some trouble. But it is very, very high speed. So we reckon that if it is going to be a sprint finish, they will be strung out somewhat. So despite the fact that it is narrow, what would you say, about 5 paces wide, Brian, the run-in? But should not exactly be a blanket finish today, which means they'll stay safe. Yeah,
there was a wee bit of concern. It goes downhill from about 2.5 kilometres to the kind of 1 kilometre mark, and at the bottom of the climb it is a wee bit technical. It goes into kind of one lane, and I know some of our colleagues thought, oh, it's going to be dangerous, a couple of corners, but at that speed it's going to be in pretty much one line if it was going to be a bunch sprint, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Now that we've got these 3 riders off the front, Philip Dijknam at the front in the blue, and the red you've got Belkov, who will be wearing a new jersey tomorrow, and that'll be the Turkish Beauty Sprint jersey. And you've got Golash at the just going through in the middle of the picture at the moment for the Omega Pharma Quick-Step team. So these 3 riders are away, and we've got about a 50-man group behind, chasing them down about a further, maybe less than 2 minutes is another, 50, 60 riders. So the 2 groups could possibly come back, but I think at this moment in time, it's this finish is going to be okay. It looks a wee bit kind of tricky and dangerous, but for me, when that happens, when it's a wee bit technical, fast downhill, it'll string out the group, and it should be fine.
There we are. Djachenko, 1 minute and 33 behind the leader. That's the deficit. Currently in second place in the general classification. 63 kilometres to go. 2 minutes and 13 is the gap, and still absolutely no offer of help whatsoever. So it's going to be, I think, everyone bullying the leader today. Andrej Greipel has got himself back up into prime position here. I think the last 2 days for Greipel may well come his way. We've got a couple of sprinting days, don't forget, as we go from Kusadasi to Izmir, and then of course there's Istanbul and the laps in the great capital itself, the dividing area between Asia as the Bosphorus on one side and Europe on the other. There's Matt Goss having a good old chat, and Green Edge announcing that they're going to be announcing their sponsor soon, but still no word as to which, presumably Australian company, will pick them up. Any hints, any thoughts, Brian?
Oh, my thoughts is, yeah, great for cycling, and you know, a terrific start to the year for them, and it's good to hear that they're going to be announcing a sponsor next week, I believe, next Tuesday. So you know, they've obviously, what they've done so far this year is obviously ticked a few boxes with some company, whether it's Australian or any other company. I think they're welcome to open hands, and they will be sponsoring a very good team.
Extraordinary. They've had so many good results, and as a debutant team as well, been a lot better welcomed, I think you might say, than some of the other teams that unveiled themselves. I was just thinking notably of the way Sky started and ruffled a few feathers. I think they've finally been more than accepted within the peloton, but they did generally. They were. There was a little bit of shenanigans went on at the beginning. They thought they were the glory boys, really, riding around in their Jags and. With all the kit. Same thing didn't happen with Green Edge. They were accepted a lot quicker. Can't really figure that one out.
Yeah, it's you know, when you get the old singing, old dancing team come here, you know, throwing, you know, millions of pounds to cycling. You know, there's a few people get jealous, and you know, they possibly didn't like it, but it's a wee bit more acceptable now. We had you know, Leopard Trek last year. The management company of Green Edge coming in and doing the same for the Aussies. So it's when you do something for the first time, people kind of look at you. And Amiga Pharma have, you know, come over, and there's been a kind of split in the camp between the two Belgian teams, World Tour teams, between Lotto kind of splitting up sponsors. So it's a wee bit more acceptable now, and I think Green Edge has been accepted into Europe with open hands. So you know, good luck to them.
Yeah.
What I say.
Very much so. They've brought a terrific team along with them this time as well. Matt Goss, of course, he's not taken a stage, but he's been very, very busy. Michael Hepburn. We lost Kruopis on stage 3, you may remember, but Brett Lancaster, Robin McEwen, always very good value. Cameron Meyer, Jens Maris, and Tekla Manot as well, who there he is towards the front, the Eritrean rider. Yeah, Daniel's been really, really handy.
Well, I was very interested to see how he got on in the mountain stage because Tekla Hamanot is a very gifted climber, and he's brought on to the Green Edge team. He rode Stagiaire for Cervelo Test Team, and it does look as if, just as I thought, this second group coming back to the front group now, so it does look as if with 60 kilometres to go, that the two groups of about 50-odd riders in front and about 50-odd riders behind are now coming back after the hard chase from the boys in green, and that's two teams of Kaja Rual and Europcar.
Oz Knitter has tweeted in saying they're liked because they're Aussies, she says. Also says good evening. Yes, well, it's good day this end, and an absolutely beautiful day it is as well. We've been blessed with good weather. When it rains in the spring and autumn, it really rains, but yes, generally speaking, I think over 300 days for sunshine in this part of the world. It's pretty long odds, I should say, that you're ever going to get any kind of rain to interrupt your holiday in this part of the world. It'd be very unlucky indeed. It is glorious, and the vistas that you see along the way. It's a shame for me anyway that some of the Turkish beauty sprints are actually done and dusted before we go to transmission, because there are some they are around some of the most stunning parts of this little peninsula that we're busy with today. This is the big transition section today. We've got a long sort of long crossing roads, if you like, between the mountains, and then we'll be skirting the coast yet again, hooking inland, and then coming back to our finish line today in Kuzadazi, a lovely little settlement, I might say, with a history of settlement going back, what, 5,000 years? Amazing. So for an awful long time, a lot of people have lived their lives out historically in this part of the world. And to be honest, when you see it so verdant and beautiful, and the weather is as it is, yes, you can imagine why. Still waiting for confirmation on Adam Hansen. He's not declared out of it just yet, but yes, it did not look good. Buffer Lake, there we are. a number of lakes in this part of the world which have been created with dams to provide irrigation for all the fruit farms and everything that dot this part of the world. And incidentally, when you get to the freshwater lakes, you also see we've caught sight of our first look at swifts and swallows. I'm not sure whether they've wintered over here or whether they're just on the way back to northern Europe or whatever. The little birdies are more than happy here. Same thing can't be said for the Turku boys. And as the two bunches have come back together, he's actually got some respite. And the leader, Gabrovski, there in the turquoise jersey, needs it. They're going to have to do a lot more work here.
Well, yes, his teammate in the front is just because this other bunch has got up. He's been sat on the front for the last 10-15 kilometres on his own, and now he's got some help from one of his teammates who's just been brought back to the front. So now it'll be very interesting to see, because we have to think of what happened yesterday. Utensil Lord and the team of Accent Jobs came up to kind of help the chase, and with Caja Rural, but Caja Rural have had a hard chase to bring back the 2 minutes to bring these bunches back together. So it's going to be very interesting as we get closer to the 50k to go, who's going to help, because this is a healthy advantage, 2 minutes and 13 seconds. But good on Konya, they're kind of holding them at that. The magic number is 3 minutes and 2 seconds to go, Lash, for Omega Farmer, who's in the breakaway.
Yep, well, we'll see if it happens. 58 kilometres remaining, and that gap is kind of rock solid at the moment. A lot of eyebrows raised yesterday with the exploits of Utensil Nord, which Brian was asking questions again and again as to why they were apparently working on behalf of Konya Turku Sekospor. Well, you work it out. We certainly couldn't, and the peloton, I think, have made their feelings felt today. If you want to win this, then you're going to have to win it on your own. They're just going to sit up here and relax. Anything but relaxing for the Konya Turku guys who are protecting that leader's jersey. Another one of the big vistas, somebody was asking yesterday how we get these shots. We send the helicopter very, very high up indeed. I'm not sure what the operating height of helicopters is, but I suspect we're close to the max on some of these. Belkov, Golas and Degnan then are your three up the road for now. They're capable, these three, more than.
Well, they're all helping each other out at the moment. I think all these guys are thinking of is stage win and time, and all three contributing. As we said, Belkov now the new Beauty Sprints leader, and he'll ride as hard as he can. And on the success of the breakaway yesterday, he'll believe that there's a good chance here. Golash is thinking about time, and the overall Dagenham thinking possibly the stage, but all three committed to this this breakaway at the moment.
I think they've all got something to get out of it. You know, Golas perhaps thinking GC, whether he'll be allowed to get too much of a march on everybody. They may start helping out once he's actually cracked it, as it were. We'll see. We've got fireworks out front. They've made Turku suffer, and now, well, they're trying to snap them, make the elastic snap here. Astana suddenly picked up the pace and went on the attack here. I think there might be a bit more of this throughout today. Big response, though, coming from Gabrovski. He's had a couple of teammates, one in particular who's been looking after him, and he's smiling. He knows what they're up to. I think they might well just drop back, let him stick out front again, and then hit him again. This is going to go on all day.
Yeah, that's what racing is all about, taking your opportunity. We came onto this long, straight, flat road with the wind coming from the bottom of our picture, and Astana came to the front with Britain Schuller to try and split the group up. So this is going to continue, but it looks as if Vinokurov just shaking his head slightly there and thinking, no, it's not difficult enough. And up pops the man from Germany, Greipel, and deciding, well, I want a piece of this.
I'll have some of this. He's got a little sense of devilment about him, Andrei Greipel, and you know, if he wants to go for a stage win today, he's a quick man. He can do this. If he can get back at the leaders up the road, he's not a threat in the overall classification, and as a result, it could be another stage win for Andrei Greipel. He's 20 minutes and 53 down after he suffered so badly in the big climb on stage 3, and he's got a half-decent wingman along with him.
Yeah, it's the young Scot, Andy Fenn, just comes to the front, and these two love the racing back in Belgium and in Holland and the flat lands. So you know, they're in their element at the moment. But just looking at the bunch, everybody kind of fanning across the front of the road. These aren't danger men, Gripo. Of course, he's a danger when it comes to the sprint at the end. But Andy Fenn just deciding to just kind of mark him, as you do when you've got an overall contender like of Golash in the front group. So I can't really see this going too far. Gripo just showing a bit of strength at the moment, but the Konya team have now got 3 riders riding tempo now at the front of the bunch.
Yeah, they've had to come and pick it back up again because they've taken the body blows which were imposed by Astana, and yeah, that's going to happen again. But yeah, we'll see whether Fenn and Gripe managed to pull away. Just to remind you of how the general classification is. It is Gabrovski. He has a 1 minute and 33 over Dyachenko of Astana. Kaya Roral's Andanov is in 3rd place, 1 minute and 38. Palomares is in 4th place with Roman Bardet of AG2R in 5th, with Efemkin in 6th, 2 minutes and 23. Yeah, brave. But would you say doable?
Well, at the moment, I'm more concerned about this race here because with Gripo and Andy Fenn going off the front, it's inspired some other riders to try and get across. Britan Schuller trying to fire a rider across, and so is the one of the other teams, Astana, spotting the danger as well, trying to come across. And what they're trying to do is give this team of Konya no respite at all and not settling it down. But the Astana rider now being brought back. And as you say, we're going to see this happening all the time. They're not going to let this race settle, and they're going to keep attacking and attacking because, as we said over the last few days, this is probably the last of the lumpier days. We've got a flatter day coming over the next 2 days, but this is the longest stage today, 179 kilometres from Bodrum to Kusadasi, and the whole peloton are now sitting back and waiting for these attacks to come.
They're showing their teeth, and it's gritted teeth, I'm afraid, for the Turku boys here. They're going to feel exhausted by the end of today. We've got 2 sprint stages still to come, don't forget. The jersey was taken in the big one, the big climb here from Antalya to El Mali, and yeah, it sort of shocked everybody, really. Just having a listen in to see if we can get a condition check for you on Adam Hansen. It hasn't been given to us. So we've got 3 men up the road. Here they are, and we are starting to get a decent chase bunch as well, which includes Andrei Greipel. So if it will end in a sprint, or if it will today, including Greipel, then there's nobody else to bet on, really. He looks very fresh, despite his exploits, trying to help out Hansen today. Earlier in this tour, I should say. Yeah, he looks very fresh and up for it. And yeah, other riders as well further down the order, making sure everyone gets a good look at their numbers so that they let them go. And trying to just drag everybody, including the general, the GC contenders, along our Turku here. But it's looking like an uphill task here. We've got a sort of a very gentle climb that they're on at the moment. Incidentally, if you'd like to join the conversation on Twitter today, it's Carlton Kirby, CarltonKirby, or Bryce Smithy, BRISMITHY. Tanya Cutting has been on, says re-helicopters, you were talking about altitude, 10,000 feet is their maximum, depending on airspace regulations. I suspect they can operate perhaps just a little bit higher, but that's where they keep them. So presumably that's how high the picture was, because lovely. There's a chasing group, including a Greipel and Fenn. And still a couple of riders trying to make it over. One of the Katusha riders is trying to bridge the gap as well here, just to sort of help out. There he is. Can't quite get a tag on him just for now. Do you know who it is? We'll find out in a few moments' time.
It's Marco Holler, the Austrian in the team, coming up, and this is going to continue all the way. They don't want to give Konya any respite whatsoever. Another rider from Lotto trying to come across at the moment. And, you know, this is fantastic racing. They're not giving this team Konya an easy ride to the finish, which they did yesterday. As soon as they go on the front, they want to attack them And now we're starting to see another kind of chasing group, but you've still got Belkov of Katusha, Golash of Omega Pharma, and Dignam of United Healthcare, 128 in front of this group of 4. And again, the Konya team, 3 riders on the front, but these guys in front, Breton Schuler with Pichon at the front, Andy Fenn comes through, Graipo and the rider just at the back, Holler, as they just take some bottles at the moment, need to continue on. As this other rider from Lotto just trying to come across this gap, so it's attack, attack, attack all the way into Kusadashi.
I'm not sure how official that liquid stuff was. Graipo looked like he tried to go for a bottle of water and ended up with a can of Coca-Cola. He won't be too displeased by that, and he's gone for it big time. Riders often give themselves a little treat with the Coca-Cola, incidentally, or there are other cola drinks available, I might add. But yeah, a bit of a toke and get some extra liquid energy into him. Haller, Greipel, Cordial, Fenn, Pichon. And I think one more to come as well on that list. No, there we are, 5 they are. And there are the chasers as well. Yeah, it's a tough one today. Look at this. I do chuckle a little bit. Would love to hear your comments. Ian Burns says, what a surprise, sunshine in Turkey. Yeah, all week, Ian, and it's been delightful to have your company. And indeed those other regulars as well who've been with us. Martin Friel says, looking forward to today. Getting in some top racing, absolutely. But we had the organisers coming along and says, is there anything more that we could possibly do to make life easier or better for anyone? Absolutely not. It's been a superb event, and we've got fireworks today, Brian, to add to it.
Yeah, and you see the flag blowing on the right-hand side. There's a bit of a cross headwind at the moment, and you know, these 5 riders of Greipel, Fenn, Pichon, Cordial, and are riding, and Holler, sorry, so the 5 riders of Greipel, Fenn, Pichon, Cordial and Holler riding well together, but they're not really getting too much leeway on the 3 riders from Konya, who I have to really say I've done great for a continental team. With the race leader, they've been not too shabby. Okay, they've been kind of blown out towards the finish yesterday, but again, they're trying, they're making the effort. Today it looks as if they're not going to get any help from any other times at this moment. They still have 3 riders, and they're keeping the race within 2 minutes, because Golash, who's in the front group, is 3 minutes and 2 seconds off the overall lead. So they aren't doing that bad for a small team from Turkey.
Very much so. In fact, at the beginning of this event, one of the organisers came and said, just watch out for Konya Turco, and indeed watch out for Saikano as well. Another team that you'd be seeing, catching glimpses of. They look a little, I have to say, like Katusha, but they're more focused red and white with Salkano written across their chest. So you might well have just thought you were looking at a Katusha rider, but Salkano very much involved here as well. They've got sort of a mixture of both teams of youth and experience, but were not to be counted out right at the very beginning, and so it has proved. You never know, Gabrowski might well go all the way and win this, but it's going to be a very, very tough task today. Wouldn't mind your thoughts out there. There is our leader. He's about 5th place back at the moment, and there's the man who is nursing that jersey on behalf of Gabrowski, but has made it his own today. Not a bad effort.
Yeah, there's not been that many mountain classifications. We had the one big day, and Bandiera managed to get in the breakaway, picking up the points that he's got at the moment, but there hasn't been too many classified climbs, and believe me, it's not flat here in Turkey. Would you agree with that, Carlton?
Yeah, I'm chuckling away here because, yes, Brian has been in punishing mode. He's been actually extraordinarily kind, I might add, for a Brit champion and up against a chucker. It's been a bit of an experience, I might add. He's been looking after me. Welcome back. It's more of the same. They're letting them hang out there, I think you might say, after going on a give him a little bunny punch, and it looks like Astana are going to try and mix this one up. This is going to be, I think we mentioned earlier on that they were perhaps the most upset by the success of Konya Turku, and they're still looking to gain something out of this one, really. Haven't had themselves a stage win yet, and Astana came here to do exactly that with some pretty big teams around. You know, you measure yourself against your opponents in this game, and right now Konya Turku Seker are doing an amazing job. Almost unbelievable, I think you might say, but there you go, they're doing it, and yeah, they just keep on pulling back that gap.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate that you know, this other chasing group has gone off the front of Greipel, Fen, Pichon, Cordil and Holler. It made it some other teams that have missed it, because the Astana team tried to get in or tried to put everybody in the gutter and split the group up. They've missed it, and now they've put Grustev on the front, who was in the breakaway yesterday. There's another rider from Cajaruao in the front, and you know, it's difficult times for this three-man break in front of Belkov, Golas and Diagnum, because with this chasing group at 1 minute and the bunch now 1:32, this gap is coming right down. Still 47 kilometres to go, but this race has been exciting from start to finish. When we had the start line in Bodrum, there was attacks right from the gun. The race split in 3 pieces. The front 2 came together, and with about 60 kilometres to go, then the whole race came back together. And then now we've got, on these big long straight roads, you can see the group in front, you can see them, and it's a carrot for this this chasing group. But all the time, these groups are all coming back together, and the race is squeezing down into 1 minute and 26 seconds. Yeah,
well, the leader's jersey, as you can see, is doing a job at the moment. It's a huge question as to whether they'll be able to make it or not, and it's another question as to whether this group here have gone a bit too early with 46 kilometres to go. I think as none of them were a threat to the GC, they thought they got a very, very good chance here. As you can see, it really is quite a drag, a long one here. And yes, sort of a false flat, you might say. It's a little bit more than that, actually. It does tip up. Brian was alluding to the fact that we've got plenty of climbs in this part of the world. There's mountains at the which kind of just inland here. So if ever you just want to get a bit cooler, or you want to test yourself out, then you can head up into the hills here and get away from the rather lovely temperatures that we've been graced with. It was 28 Celsius yesterday, incidentally, in the shade and out of the breeze, I might add, as well. Still get a cooling breeze here, which is makes things rather pleasant. Today we're sort of harbour side, and as a result, just the way the wind happens to be blowing, or the breeze, the sea breeze coming through, it's around about 23 Celsius. Still extraordinarily nice. It's a bit chilly at this time of year at night, but only Cardi chilly if you're a Northern European. You don't actually have to wrap up, although the locals do so. Used to much hotter climbs. 45 kilometres to go then. A minute and 3 back to the Greipel group, and a minute and 32 to the group that contains the turquoise leader's jersey. And you don't have to look far to find that leader's jersey, because his team, Turco, are being forced to drag everyone along here today as our leaders.
Yeah, it's not the best road to be in the breakaway. The wind is coming from the right, slight to the head. Heavy road surface into this kind of head cross wind. These 3 riders, you've got Golash at the front for Omega Pharma. At the back of that group is Belkov in the red, and in the middle you've got the Irish rider Philip Diagnum. And these 3 riders are seen by the whole peloton. The peloton now 126 down, with this chasing group of Greipel, Fen, Pichon, Cordil, Holler at 55 seconds. So no place to hide in this road.
Absolutely no place to hide. They're lucky that there's more of a breeze today, because that would have been added to the sapping nature of it. Yesterday, as we were protected down on the harbour side, we just had no idea how hard they had to work yesterday, and even more credit, I think, needs to be offered up to the young man who came home and got his inaugural victory of his pro career, Andre Di Corrado from Colnago. He looked like a kid in a toy shop at the end of the day. I think the sheer joy of it was something to behold. But Brian went out that evening, I went out this morning, and yes, ambulance just going by, being pointed out by Brian. I think that might well be Adam Hansen, I'm afraid. with his collarbone problems. Even if he hasn't broken the collarbone, it can dislodge, and sometimes that's even worse. Just a cartilage issue. Happened to me actually not long ago. Not on a bike, I might add. I fell out of my loft. But there you go. I should say it was the bike, but that would be telling fibs. 44 kilometres to go. It was a hell of a noise. 44 kilometres to go. 55 seconds back to the Greipel group. We are allowed to call it, I think, as he's probably the best prospect if he does manage to bridge to the leaders today. And there in the turquoise jersey, just the left of your screen, in the green shorts, is our leader. 1:29 back. It's one of those, it's not the most interesting of terrain today because we've got so much beautiful countryside, but you've got to make this transition, Brian, and there are some lumps towards the end here that they're going to have to deal with.
Yeah, it's not an easy finish at all, and like the last few days, Henry Rudan just came up, and you know, these guys really have to keep the pressure on. If they can get away from these kind of flat roads coming up, and you never know, they'll maybe get out of sight, and when you're out of sight, out of mind slightly. But this group of Greipel, Fenn, Pichon, Cordeel and Holler coming up fairly quickly. Wilfred Peters, very successful director sportive this year with Tom Bonin, has given out the orders and some drinks to Golash, who is the best placed in overall of these three riders, in front at 3 minutes and 2 seconds.
Yeah, fluid's important today. Even as static as we are doing the commentary here, it's you've got to remember to drink. It's that kind of weather today. Looks reasonably calm, doesn't it? But believe me, they're expending an awful lot of energy out there today. And this drag as we go towards the hills really can sap it out of you. Look at the road surface as well today. It's quite grippy, this surface. And when it's like that, it's kind of loud on the tyres, not quite as smooth as some of the roads that we've seen. And even that is going to take more of energy out of you as you try and grind along it.
Yes, heavy road surfaces here, and up and down. But again, this group of Greipel still willing to push on hard at the front, led by the bunch led by Konya.
Oh, they really are having to dig in here, the Konya boys. It looks horrid, the task that they've been given here. They're kind of smiling. They know the conversation behind them, and they see that everyone is just banked up. But look at the demeanour of Greipel here. He's got the bit between his teeth. He's crucially as well got a teammate with him. Cordeel is alongside. There he is, just coming into view. Doing some nice relaying here, and they've closed that gap down 43 seconds. But it's almost, because they're within view of the chasers as well, including the leader's jersey, they're almost helping the task of the overall leader as well here. They're like a beacon up the road. If you'd like to join the Twitter conversation, by the way, and join Hugh McHugh, Dan McHugh, I beg your pardon, Christina, Craig Elliott, who's busy telling us about his holiday homes in this part of the world, and then of Ricky Thompson, apparently. Sean Frampton as well, Tina G, Jen, Dave McHugh. He's over in Singapore, I think, Dave. Very late night for you. I hope you're raising a glass to us here. James Walbridge and the rest, Andy Oakes. We will have a chat with some of you in a moment, but if you'd like to join the conversation on Twitter, it's Carlton Kirby, CarltonKirby, or BRISMITHY, which is Bryce Smithy. You're seeing, I'm not sure whether that's a helicopter, to be honest. I think it is. You might get some close-up shots here, but it may well just be headwind, of which we were unaware of yesterday because of the built-up area. It does blow in these parts. Yeah, it's blowing out there on this plane at the moment. It's coming from the right of our picture, across to the left, and that's why the riders are swinging off to their left-hand side, and the other one taking over, doing bit and bit, as they say. 43 seconds. They have been riding hard, these five riders, and it just goes to show you that the three riders of Belkov, Golash and Dagenham are riding just as hard. But 43 seconds, 40 seconds now, it's creeping down. But so is the bunch. The bunch are chasing these guys who are chasing the front, and again, this race being squeezed with 41 kilometres to go. 1 minute 17 seconds down to the leader, Grabowski. They're doing it, aren't they? They're doing a job here, the Kenya Turku boys. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it. We've seen a lot of drama over the last couple of days as they've it's almost been a personal defence of that jersey by Gabrowski. He's got some teammates today, but he's not averse to taking a turn himself when he needs to.
Yeah, he's been showing how well he's going at the moment. Towards the end of all the stages, he's been absolutely chasing everything. He doesn't have to, but he seems to want to, not let anybody go.
Callum Biokazman saying that he may have been wrong yesterday, but he sees it all coming back for a sprint today. Not so sure. Now just check this out. There's been people living in this part of the world, we mentioned earlier, for around about 5,000 years BC. Obviously they weren't in chiseling mode back then. But yes, there's so many different empires have had a piece of this part of the world over the years. What I do like about these excavations when they find these places is that quite often they'll find bits of the Doric columns or whatever knocking around, and they actually put the stones on the surface and sort of leave them there where they've kind of discovered them. They don't try and rebuild it, reconstruct it all. Can you imagine if this was in the States? This would look amazing by now, presumably with a big parking lot and some neon lights as well. I'm probably being unkind to our friends over in the States. But it is beautiful here, and if history's your thing, you'll be hard-pushed to find a better place, really. It's absolutely amazing. You could drive along the road and suddenly you end up with a Roman theatre on one side, and you ask questions of yourself and just where you sit in the long line that is human history. 40 kilometres, 40 seconds now, the gap back to the Greipel group. Do you think this little satellite group that's gone out here is, in its own quiet way, accidentally helping the Konya Turku boys?
Yeah, well, it's not helping them. It's the fact that you know, more riders have gone in front, and what they don't want is these two front groups, the 3 and the 5, to come together to make 8, and that'll make it very difficult for the Konya team, and that's why they're getting help now from Kaja and Astana. It's a pity that Astana aren't in here, because now Gruzdev has been forced to ride on the front to try and control things for Astana, which again, like yesterday, is helping the race leader and his team, because they were depleted in numbers yesterday.
Craig Breeze is a happy boy. He's enjoyed the banter of myself and Brian. He says it's pure entertainment. Well, that's nice to know. He also says, what a great race and a great leader, he says, exclamation mark. Well, the rest of the peloton don't think so. they're trying to beat him up today. Whether they'll succeed, we remain to see. Theo Boss, he's had an up and down tour of Turkey, hasn't he?
Yeah, he won the first stage when we had that the crash, but let's not take it away. He's a very good fast finisher. This is a wee bit lumpy towards the finish, a very fast finish from the 2.5 kilometre mark. Vinokurov comes to the front. He wants to have a wee chat with his team manager at the moment. This is not kind of normally allowed. You're only allowed to come up with a 15 or less. So just wants a wee chat with Alexander Schaefer, the director sportive there. And yeah, Turku have to do most of the riding. They are getting a wee bit of help from the third place rider Andonov's team of Kaja Rual. But more interestingly, this gap to the 5 in front from the bunch is 30 seconds. If this Group 2 gets closer to the group in front, then the group in front of Belkov, Golash and Dagna will possibly wait for them, but it has to get nearer the 20-second mark, so it's getting very interesting.
Why go back to the car? Well, you don't want it over on the radio signals as to what your plans are. And look at this. I wouldn't be surprised if Astana go for on the attack again in a few moments' time. They're certainly mustering here. Incidentally, for touching the team car, you can pick up penalties out there. There are fines. And I think United Healthcare have actually got a sticky bottle fine, which they're very upset about yesterday. 1,000 Swiss francs. A sticky bottle is where a rider goes for a drink out of a car and holds onto it just a little bit longer than perhaps he should to get a bit of energy transfer from the vehicle into his own legs. It's like a free ride, if you like, for a few seconds. They've been very, very hot on the touching even of vehicles, and I wouldn't be surprised if Astana, just for that little drift back, momentarily grabbed hold of the side of the vehicle to lean in safely and get the word. Illegal, Brian, and a fine possibly in the offing.
Well, it's not illegal. Sometimes, and you can see the wind blowing you know, it's difficult to hear director sportive in the car, and sometimes the rider will put his hand in the car and try and put his head in to listen, because it's, you know, it's blowing so much, as you can see from the trees, so it's difficult to hear. So I wouldn't say it's any form of cheating, it's just the norm. But what we noticed from yesterday, the mechanics hanging out the car, there was a few fines because of that, because you aren't allowed to do that. So the UCI commissars are hot on this. They're just trying to not heavy-handed with the rules, just make it, you know, safer.
David Ludlam says, love your assassination of the American culture. He says, parking lots with neon lights and a rebuilt Acropolis. I think they've created it, actually, in Las Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. But he says, our American press, he said, have you seen what we've done with Land's End in the United Kingdom? You're absolutely right. Reese Morse says, why is Gabrowski's jersey ripped at the sleeves? Did they expect him to win? Or is it just a case of did they expect somebody else to win? They got the right size for him. I haven't noticed, actually, Reese, but I'll check in.
I can answer that if you want.
Go on.
Most of the time, these you know, obviously team jerseys are made to measure, and you've got the leader's jersey, and Grabowski's obviously got quite big biceps. And the other thing is, they don't want to kind of close fitting, and what he's done is he's just cut the elastic round the sleeves to make it a wee bit kind of easier fitting around the arm.
Oh, sorry, round the arm, yeah, forgive me, just reaching for a bottle of water there. Turku deserve a few invites to other races. How about the Tour of Britain, says Herbie Green?
Well, that would be down to the Tour of Britain. We can't get them invites anywhere.
We can't get them invites, but yeah, I see your point. They've certainly been working hard. Astana, well, what are they up to here? They went over to the team car to avoid message being delivered over the airwaves. Teams do listen in to the other team's radio traffic, incidentally. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any sort of secret squirrel messages have been passed over here, and whether they will act upon them.
Yeah, just looking at these time gaps at the moment, it's getting very close to this between Group 1 and Group 2. There's going to come a time, it's gone out to 30 seconds now. If they get to within 20 seconds, I can see these three riders waiting for the five behind. They're having a wee bit of chat at the moment. Henrik is gone, the team cars are gone at the moment, leaving just neutral service. So there's going to become a time very quickly that 8 in front is better than 3 riding hard, 5 riding hard, and they could possibly put a wee bit more time into the peloton. So questions and a wee bit of communication with the other riders at this moment in time, because this gap's still holding, it's going up again, 35 seconds.
Yeah, they had a little chat and then decided, once they take out the team cars, it's because there's a 30-second gap that basically is becoming too narrow. So the commissars just send the team cars away, fore or aft, and as you can see, they've decided, no, we're not going to wait for them, they can catch us, let's pick it up a little bit. They're the sprinters, we're the diggers here, and in they have, dug deep again, and suddenly it's just gone from, what, 32 seconds to 38 seconds, and the rest. I don't know whether Greipel's group are resting up ever so slightly here, but we're going to find out. It's going to be 40 seconds before you know it. They've increased their cadence. So what are you going to do, Andre, and the rest? Well, chugging just a bit for now. Greipel has been quite selfless in this one. His support of Philippe Gilbert over the last couple of seasons before he parted company with him, possibly added to Gilbert's success rate, I think, and possibly just left Greipel a little bit spare when it came to his Palmares. But he's had a super start to the season, Andre Greipel, and I wouldn't be surprised if he fancies another couple of stage wins along the way here. Here's the main bunch. And, well, still at the head of the chevron, if you like, of the Turku boys, but they've got company.
Yeah, the Andalusia boys just kind of looking after their Martin Palomares, and again, the bunching up suggests that this wind is still blowing in their face, slightly to the right-hand side of our picture, kind of crosshead winds, and these 5 riders in front of Greipel, Fenn, Pichon, Cordeel, Holler, not getting any closer to the 3 riders leading this race on the road at the moment. That's Belkov, Golash and Dignam. So everything, it's actually going out to 41 seconds, and I can see these 5 riders deciding, well, we're just going to save a wee bit, as we see the Katusha car up talking to Holler at the moment.
One of the roundabouts here, sort of giving you a look-see into some of the construction work that's been going on here. The infrastructure is very much part of getting people around the holiday resorts here, and they're busy with it constantly, because it just seems, oh, we've been called for some information here. Not that they're asking us for it, but I think we might get a health check on Adam Hansen. We'll try and spare our ears for that. Still nothing on him yet. He hasn't officially abandoned, but I don't think he got back on the bike. There's certainly nobody to relay him, so I think he's done. But how serious his injury was, let's hope it's not a collarbone. It can just hurt like hell and not break, Brian. Yeah,
he's normally, you know yourself, you know your own body, and if you can jump on the if you can jump back on the bike and continue, you try to, it never happens. So I'm expecting the worst, that it could be a collarbone break for Adam Hansen.
Side question, Coral Bale says, do you think Philippe Gilbert has become a one-trick pony after all he did last year with the megabucks of BMC behind him? Now what's going on? Nothing for him this year. He's been there or thereabouts. I think he would have had a pretty successful season on paper this year if he just hadn't had that remarkable one last year, really.
Yeah, he's been building up for the last few years, and you know, what a season he did have last year. You got to remember that he was up there and everything. You know, he was winning pretty much all year, and that takes a lot out your body. And I think over the winter he would have been doing a lot of events, and you know, everybody wants the wee bit of flesh from him, and you know, that's why he suffered a wee bit this year. And he'll be back. He's a fighter. You could see that in Flèche Wallonne and Liège, Bastogne-Liège, that he is a fighter, and I'm pretty sure that Gilbert will be back.
Nathan Fernandez says, why do cyclists always break collarbones? Well, it's not always collarbones, often wrists as well, but it's the first things to hit the ground. If it's your elbow, then the collarbone is in grave danger of being snapped. And if it's your hand, then it's your wrist. You very rarely break an elbow, but because there's stronger bones in that part of the body. But you can transmit the shock and the energy through to the collarbone, and that's why it can happen. Otherwise, it can be a scaphoid, which is a nasty little fracture within the wrist. It's a part of a thumb link, and not good. Are they up for this, Brian?
Yeah, they're pushing it back out. 49 seconds now as they're coming up to the sprint of the day. I don't think we're going to see any reaction or any sprint from these 3 riders, because they're just thinking of trying to get to the finish, holding these 5 riders off of Greipel, Fenn, Pichon, Cordeel and Holler, and they're doing a good job. It came down to about 30 seconds and they pushed it back out again, and looking good. And again, if the bunch led by Grushdev of Astana with the Konya boys and Kajaruao, if they can catch the 5 in front, then this gap could go up again.
Adam Hansen is out of the race, but we're still waiting to find out what his state of health is. I'm assuming Greipel is in the German Olympic team, says Tanya Cutting. The road race in London is going to be an absolute scorcher. Cav, Greipel, Goss, etc. We're all looking forward to it, Brian.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely amazing. London, I live just 12 miles from the centre of London, so it's going to be absolutely amazing time to be in that part of the world, and I might actually get out and see some racing live, just like we're doing here.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, they're going to be swinging past my house these days, having relocated from Norfolk. I'm just on the edge, I'm just between Bushy Park and Richmond Park, actually. Nice part of the world. "31 kilometres, it's just clicked by, and 52 seconds now. The second group have been distanced by the trio up front of Belkov, Golas and Digna. So questions being asked then of Greipel, Fenn, Pichon, Haller and Greipel's teammate Cordeel. And here we are. That's through the final sprint prime of the day. I think it's going to affect the points at the top. 31 to go, 49 seconds. So, yeah, they kind of just spared away a little bit, but it's kind of holding station. There is your chasing group. They seem to have picked it up a little bit here. There's a little bit more focus about them. I think they've been told to hit the go button, to be honest, because they're really relaying. Watch that clock come down. It's all on telemetry. Some of you occasionally ask what the little blue plastic features are at the base of the frame, and in fact it's gone out here. That trio, that's possibly the reading from just before the sprint, when they may well have just stepped it up a bit. They're out of the saddles here. We said it got a little bit lumpy. It certainly will as we head inland, a little bit further inland, and the roads kind of vary just a little bit, but it's very, very quick at the end here. We'll talk you through it as we get a little bit nearer, but we've still got 31 kilometres to go, and it's kind of rock solid, really. And there are the Turku boys. They've done their job so far. There's the chasing bunch, just trying to pick out the leader's jersey for you, but you just know it's not going to be that far away from the men in green with Turku written on their bellies. And Kaya Roral as well, also joining the fun here. Just listening into Radio Tour, and I can't see the leader's jersey. Radio Tour are calling the team car up. I'm just wondering if the leader's got a problem here. Haven't seen it for a while. Oh, you never know. We'll find out in a moment. Here we are. More of these mountains, Brian. You said you were taken aback yesterday at just how much they'd had to put into it at the end. Maybe we just didn't realise from the pictures. It happens, though, that, doesn't it?
No, I wasn't taken aback by, you know, these guys are professionals, that's what they do. I was maybe more applauding the efforts of the stage winner yesterday.
Yep.
Was a tough last, you know, 10, 15 kilometres, and I know he'd been out there with the rest of his breakaway companions for a long period of time, but just the way the direction the wind was blowing yesterday, it never really shows too much in our TV screens, but it was really heavy last 15 kilometres, and a wee bit lumpier than as seen, because the television seems to iron out these lumps and bumps. But these three riders, especially Golash at the front, riding hard for Omega Pharma, just thinking of gaining time. He needs 3 minutes and 2 seconds on the peloton, led by Gravoski's team of Konya. Philip Dignam doing well, and for United Healthcare, just coming through for his turn at the moment. And then you've got Belkov. He'll be happy with his efforts at the moment, because he's taken the Turkey Beauty Sprint competition lead, so he'll be in a new jersey tomorrow. There's still increasing their advantage, 56 seconds to this five-man breakaway of Holler, Gripo, Cordeel, Fenn and Pichon, and they're not hanging about. As you see, Cordeel just stretching his back at the moment. Just goes to show you the effort these guys are putting in. The bunch are still staying in there with 1:33, so difficult times for the three in front, the five between, and the bunch at the moment led by the leaders team of Konya.
Yeah, it's a tough ask as well when you've got a road such as this. It's arrow straight, there it is, and all within view of each other. You can see everybody that's out there racing today, apart from Adam Hansen, who apparently is in the team car, being attended to. I think he was actually in the ambulance that went by, off for a hospital checkup. Suspected collarbone, but we'll wait and see. Still not confirmed. 57 seconds now. It's heading towards the minute mark, and only 1.5, so not that far behind are this lot. They've decided to just pick up and do some duty. Turku were called back to their car, and I think it was because of a problem for the leader that we didn't actually see. So they're going to go. Ah, there he is. I've just spotted him. So scratch that. He's very much still up towards the front. They haven't stopped, incidentally, in terms of punishing the Turku boys. It's just a question of when. Wouldn't be surprised if it comes fairly shortly, to be honest. It's about time for another punch-up. We'll see. Just look at how the trees are billowing here, and that's taking it out of them. You saw Cordial in particular. Greipel's teammate looked like he was really struggling, and Haller as well of Katusha in big grimace mode. He's got a Katusha teammate, of course, with Belkov up front. Belkov trails by 8 minutes and 4, incidentally, the overall standings. Golash, who is in the lead here in the pale blue accented with dark shorts, is only 3 minutes and 2 down. And Philip Degnan of United Healthcare, 5 minutes and 8. So, you know, they've got a chance, but for the time being anyway, it's not a gap that they're able to increase, it seems, and those who thought about bridging look to be in a bit of bother. 30 seconds they've got on the leaders' jersey group.
Yeah, still a good effort here for the 3 riders in front, and Greipel wants to continue with this, maybe not the others, as we had this small climb. Andrew Fenn trying to come across for Omega Pharma. He just has to stay with them at the moment, but the other riders, Holler, struggling to come across, but Pichon and Cordale have gone. They look as if they're going to be back to the bunch, and that's just what I was saying. They come off this long, flat road, very windy, into these small climbs, and it just kills the legs as we see Pichon and Cordale going backwards, and it's all down to Greipel. Greipel looking very impressive today. Yep. And a lot of people thinking, well, why is he going out there? I've seen him do this a few times before in the past, and it's very good training. It just goes to show you what power is in this man. He's got his stage 1, and he could easily have just sat in the bunch and waited for a bunch sprint if it's going to come to a bunch sprint today, but he's decided, no, I'm here to do my best, and you know, it's easier to sit in the bunch, but I want to show people how strong I am, and you know, it's good training for him as well.
Well, I got one of them right. Cordial has edged out. I thought it was Haller that was really suffering, but it's Pichon and Cordial that have backed into, or will do in a moment, this chasing bunch. And Turku is still there, chugging away. They've got a Kaya Roral rider helping him out, as you can see, but boy, they're having to dig very, very deep here today. The Astana are kind of just sitting there, waiting to do their thing. Thanks to everyone who's been on Twitter, by the way. There's a whole raft of you today. I hope we've done our best to get through some of your comments. We will have time for plenty more as well. Why does the Tour of Britain always stay in the central belt of Scotland and never in the Highlands? Makes them great king of the mountains, says Simon Dalgano. Why don't they go to some of the truly mega climbs that are available?
It's just logistics. Already over the last few years, a lot of the teams are kind of questioning some of the transfers, but you know, it gives you a good chance to see pretty much the whole of Britain. There is only 8 days, and it's very difficult to go from the bottom to the top and see every part of Britain.
It certainly is. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more and some of your questions on Twitter after this. And in fact, we're not taking a break, not this time anyway. Brian, while I have a drink.
Yeah, you've got on this small climb, and again Andy Greipel, he doesn't want to take anybody with us, no passengers. Holler now is distance, but Andy Fenn doing a good job and just tracking Greipel at the moment. 55 seconds with 26 kilometres to go, not easy kilometres, but again Greipel and Andy Fenn, Holler trying to come back at the moment, put in some distance into the peloton now, so from the front to the race to the back to the race, it's moving out to 1 minute and 52. So Greipel really on it today, just flicking it into the little ring. This isn't an easy finish to the stage today.
Absolutely not. Holler can sprint himself, by the way, so he may well be doing a bit of sandbagging here, and just knowing that he needs to sap some of the legs of Andre Greipel, and what mighty legs he's got as well. If it does come to a sprint, it's Greipel's, full stop, for those up front, unless you can actually possibly wear him down. There's yesterday's stage winner, once again peaking up front.
Yeah, just you look at the confidence. You know, he's up near the front. Yesterday's stage winner, Grudzev, on the left-hand side for Astana. And this is just a strength-sapping climb as we're getting up towards nearer the top with Philip Deitnam in the blue at the front pushing hard. But this wind's really blowing these guys about. 58 seconds back to a group of three of Greipel, Fenn and Holler. That's if Holler's managed to stay on. But this gap increasing to 1 minute and 59 seconds to the bunch and the race leader of Grabowski. You got to remember that Golash has 3 minutes and 2 seconds if he wants to grab that jersey off his back.
There you go. Greipel has another go here. He doesn't want any passengers. We said that Holler appeared to be suffering, and I think they might well have managed to drop him here. Andy Fenn doing a great job here of keeping with Greipel. I don't think Greipel is going to be able to shake Fenn. He's had a good run this year, Fenn.
Yeah, he's doing well. It looks as if Duarte now has attacked the peloton, so we're starting to see some more attacks. And you know, the team of Konya and Caja Rural really suffering, but it's yesterday's winner, Di Corrado. It's on the front for Colnago, trying to bring it back as well for a sprint.
Yep, he enjoyed himself yesterday, and I think he wants more of the same. Well, if it gets a bit hilly, then never count out the Colombians, and Duarte is off. 7 minutes 24 is his deficit in the overall. He's playing with us. Looks fresh.
Well, it may look fresh, but I'm telling you what, he's really feeling it. All the riders are feeling it up this long drive. 25 kilometres to go. 3 riders in front of Belkov, Golash and Deitnam with a 1 minute and 1 second advantage to Greipel and Andy Fenn. Holler was with them, slightly distanced, but the bunch really struggling and toiling up the final slopes of this climb as Duarte attacks the peloton. And it's yesterday's winner that was trying to pull things back, and I think he's still at the front for Colnago, burying himself as Di Corrado.
There we are, 25 to go, and a minute now is the deficit from the trio up front back to Greipel and Fenn, who are the intermediate pair. Yeah, 55 seconds to them now. A minute and 41 to this lot. Now, I think that they think that they may well have already done some damage to the legs. Maybe not the ambition of Gabrowski, but there he is. He's still looking embattled, I must say. It's hard to read a man's mind by just the view of his face. But yeah, he's had a hard day so far. It's going to get harder.
Well, if anything, that riding, as we see Greipel has still been joined by Fenn and Holler, and by the looks of Fenn, he's been told he can't ride. He's got Golash in front and he's not going to be riding. He said, look, sorry, but I've got a man in front, Golash, and I can't ride. And because of that, they're just waiting on Holler, and it looks as if they're not going to make it since Holler decides, I tell you what, you two guys can play around and not go, but I'm going to continue going because I can't wait for anybody behind.
Yeah, and there is Andre Greipel. Yes, you'd be hard picked to read those lips anyway, because there's not much of them. But yeah, the downhill section here, maybe he just knew the route a bit better, Holler, and he came back to them and has gone. 55 seconds. Yeah, Greipel not best pleased, and not best pleased with Fenn, but there's nothing that Fenn can do, to be honest. What's he going to do? Damage Golash has got a chance for the overall at 3 minutes and 2. He's up the road. Here he is, flicking out his arm and saying, come on, boys, let's get on with it. And Belkov does it. I wouldn't be surprised if Haller tries to help out Belkov by bridging over here. It might well have been a decent man for Greipel to get on with here. But, yeah, I think he laid a bit too much down. Let's have a look. Where is Greipel? He's
sulking.
Yeah, exactly. Sulking. Yeah. Down at mouth, I think you might say. Down in the mouth. Here he is. Yeah, he's kind of done his bit. Thought he had got a couple of riders that might have a look, but the Golash position up front really is something. It's not quite the same for Haller, because Belkov for Katusha is 8 minutes and 4 his deficit, but Golash really has a chance today, provided that Gabrowski and Konya Turku gets upset. Well, it's not going to be long before Duarte reaches Fenn and Greipel here.
Yeah, he's trying hard. Hopefully we'll be able to see the bunch right behind led, but it looks as if the Colnago team put in a great deal of effort in. But just look at where have the green jersey for Conyers gone, and you know, this has happened over the last couple of stages. They're nowhere to be seen, and you know, that's the sort of effort they put in today. And when it comes into the finale, they're just, you know, fingers crossed that the other teams with their attack and their riding at the front can bring this back together for the race leader, and that's Grabowski.
So, possibly a chance for us to talk about the finish today. With around about, what, 6 kilometres to go, we're on a bit of a highway. From 3, it starts to come downhill. And you kind of zoom into town, and there is a rather nasty left-hander that they've all got to take. Speeds will be extremely high after another left-hander, and then a right flick around about the 2 kilometre mark, down to about 1.7. And then it's eyeballs out. Hell for leather for the line, and the way it's looking at the moment, Greipel back in with the bunch here. I don't know how much he's left behind of his sprinting legs, we'll see. He can rest up a bit with a pack so tightly grouped together here, but is it going to be one for the escapees, or are we going to have a sprint today, Brian?
No, it's still looking good for these 3 riders in front. If it stays like this, then they've got a great chance, because these 3 riders of Dagenham, Belkov and Golash can definitely hold off the chasing bunch led now by Conyers. After that incline, they were kind of back into the bunch, but as soon as it eased over the top, they're back to the front again. So they can definitely hold off the peloton. It really depends on who wants to try and win the stage. Kaja Rual comes up to help them. AG2R in there as well. They're without a win. I would think that Jimmy Casper is still in this group. Duarte for Colombia on the left, and the black has now been caught. So yeah, they're still in control of this race. Golas is the threat. He's at 3 minutes and 2 seconds. It's 1 minute 38, so they've got over a minute to play with. But that's why Conyers just have to keep tempo riding at the front, because they've got everything under control. The reason why Kaja Rual are riding, because there's less of a difference between Golash and their rider Andonov. But he could be looking at 3rd place in the podium if he gets any time today.
Well, we've got a lot of radio traffic going on at the moment. Seems to be a lot of people with their mics wide open as we speak. So if you do have a few pregnant pauses, it's because we're trying to dip in and find out just what's being shouted at us. Adam Hansen, still no condition check on him, but he's out of the race. Often that bodes well, to be honest. So let's keep our fingers crossed for him. 22 kilometres, a minute and 13 is the gap on the pursuer, Haller, and indeed we've got a Colombian up the road as well. It's getting a little bit fractured out there, not just fractious yet, but you never know. But out the face of Belkov there. There's his teammate Haller trying to get across. I think Haller's had it. There we are, and there is the main bunch with our glorious leader along with him. Brian de Cool, I don't know whether you made that up, Brian, but good name. He says, do you and Smithy go out riding alone or catch a local Turkish club ride? Haven't seen any Turkish club rides, to be honest.
Yeah, I've not seen any of the kilometres I've done. I've seen very few bike riders. Even in our travels, we've probably seen no more than a handful of cyclists out here. I don't know if and when you go past the locals, they'll stop and look at you. So I don't think it's maybe especially you, Carlton, in that jersey you had on the other day. But I don't think there's chain gangs or groups that go out. If there's any cyclists here, it tends to be kind of individuals. They look, maybe they look as, you know, what you're doing out in this great weather on your bike, sweat pouring off you. They seem to be a very kind of relaxed nation.
Certainly are. They've been amazingly polite. We've been greatly catered for here. A good deal of respect shown as well, even to holidaymakers that can get a bit capricious, as you know, with a couple of beers down there. Yeah, they're gently treated, I think, with respect, which is terrific. You couldn't ask for more. We just got sight a few moments ago of Roman Bardet. He's in 5th place in the overall ranking, 2 minutes and 1. And if there's somebody who might pick it up and have a look today, then, you know, you might not have to look too far away from Bardet. He's been terrific here, the French youngster. There's been so many false dawns for French riders, however, that you kind of feel, you kind of ask yourself as to whether this is another one. But he looks very good at the moment, doesn't he?
Yeah, good young man. Maybe disappointed the other day not to be further up, but there's nothing he could have done.
Yep.
He tried his hardest, and now the team at the front of Colombia called Deportes, they are very disappointed with their race here in Tour of Turkey. They thought in the third stage that they could have really done something, and it didn't work out. And you know, they're chasing what they can get. Still these three riders, Belkov, Golash and Dijknum, 21 kilometers to go, 1:38. So if this was to stay the same, then Golash would be moving into second place, and that's why the likes of Kaja Ruao and Astana were trying to ride. But more and more attacks. As soon as the race goes uphill, more and more attacks is from the climbing types, like the Colombian, as Duarte goes again, and the rider from Andalusia just couldn't go with him. But one of the Britannia Schürrle trying to have a go, but you just see that the whole peloton switching all over the roads. They are very much hurting themselves. Looks as if it's Astana now, Daichenko up towards the front, just in front of their leader.
Yeah, you see Gabrovski, the leader, he's Bulgarian. The Bulgarian champions here as well, Andanov, Daniel. And I wonder whether he's minded to offer any kind of assistance. He'll be playing the team role, of course, for Kaya Rural. They've been chugging away, doing their own thing, and as well they might. Kaya Rural also have an interest in the overall rankings here. Let's not forget, it is Andanov himself, the Bulgarian champion. So, yeah, I don't think second place is what any rider thinks about. He's currently third overall, 1 minute and 38 down. 21 kilometres, a minute and 10 then, and it seems like the early pushes have hurt. I think we can say that quite clearly. That graphic doesn't count that Colombian who I'm looking at, still up the road and still distancing them. There he is.
Well, just look at the bunch at the moment, Carlton. It's all over the place. There's guys going out the back. They're snaking all over the road. They're really struggling on these climbs. And really, hat off to these three riders in front. They've been away for quite a long period at this stage, the longest stage of this year's Tour of Turkey. Belkov, Golash and Dijknum, and all three are riding as hard as they can, as we now see Etap come to the front for Germany.
Oh, well, let's just stay with this for a moment. Look at this. Just watch out for the leader's jersey. His head has been bobbing like it's on a spring, to be honest, because he's trying to get eyes in the back of his head. He's going to need them. He's lost his teammates who've done an awful lot of work for him today, and it's kind of down to him, really. Can't see another teammate of his knocking around. He's having a big look over his shoulder, seeing where they are. And here comes the Bulgarian champion, chugging up, resplendent in his flag for Kaya Rural, Andanov. Now, is it another favour being called in by the race leader?
Well, it's more a case of looking after your overall position. Maybe bad parking with some of the cars at the side of the road there, the team cars coming back from the fronts. But yeah, the rider from Etap pushing hard. Kaja Ruao was in there. And you know, Duarte still pressing on at the moment, but you don't really appreciate how hard these climbs are. This gap coming down 51 seconds now with 20 kilometres to go.
Yeah, it's any one of these uphill sections could well have found themselves classified in other races. It really has been a test when it's coming to the climbing here. You've got to have the climbing legs on you. And you saw Andre Greipel, who really is a sprint specialist. He can go over a few bumps, but yeah, clearly he's felt a bit sapped here. Another push. And there is the leader on the left-hand side of your screen, still waving all over the place and tracking and being tracked by, in equal measure, Astana. Is that Le Carte for Britannia Schürrle? Well, it's come to nothing, but they have stretched out here. 20 kilometres to go then. And 40 seconds is the advantage of our leaders. Well, the swirling wind here, you do get vectoring. When it gets hot like this, you get spirals of air forming into invisible would you describe it? Tornadoes, I guess. I'm not talking anything quite as dramatic as that, but you know the swirl I'm talking about. So it does swirl as in greater volume than a tornado, and the wind is starting to blow, and the peloton is starting to get pulled all over the place here as well. Katusha respond here, but so does the leaders, just in front of the red Katusha riders. Saxo Bank getting involved. Everybody has sent somebody up here to do some bullying, it looks like.
Whenever Vinokurov has gone on the attack over the last couple of days, the man Grabowski has went straight after him. He doesn't really need to. He's looking behind to see if he can get a wee bit of help. But Vinokurov has been on the attack over the last couple of days, and Grabowski is chasing him down. And Vinokurov is further down in the overall rankings. He's 4 minutes and 1 second. But yeah, Grabowski starting to show small signs of starting to suffer at the moment. Will not let anybody go, and wasting quite a considerable amount of energy.
There we go, and I think that Bardet might be Bardet. Yes, it was Bardet on the. He's just out of shot at the moment, and having to respond here. There goes the leader. Bardet has gone, and he's gone on a climb here. That's he's capable of doing it now. What has been the response here of Grabowski? Now Bardet trails by 2 minutes and 1. Don't forget. So it's a massive ask at this very early stage. How much of the bullying how much has he lost here, Grabowski? He's managed to make the gap here, but still keeping the hammer down. Bardet goes. He just drifts behind one of the motorcycles here. The motorcycle rider will be called away, and he's bridged him here. Look at this. Another check from Bardet. Gets the head down this time. Tries to time trial it a little bit. They just hit a plateau here, and so the hands come triathlon-like to the front here as he just tries to time trial away. But I've got to say that Grabowski, there he is equal to it for the time being in the turquoise jersey. He's still trying here, Bardet. Doesn't want to put too much down just now, but that was a great little moment.
No, he's fully committed. He has to be. He's on the attack. He said he'd go down fighting. He's not finished here at the Tour of Turkey, and said he would have another go. But the Katusha rider with a man in front with Belkov, he's not going to give him a turn. But Grabowski had a tough time trying to get across to these two riders as Vinokurov tries to come up for Astana as well.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not what everyone wanted. Grabowski getting into the tuck here on one of the downhill sections. The road will be going up again before you know it here, and Bardet knows he's got company, and the one man he just did not want to see is that the leader just hooks him behind the Katusha. Satovic at the front now, not offering a huge protection here to Bardet, who is one of the bigger riders. But sadly for him, Grabowski, who's smaller than him, is getting full benefit here on the downhill section. Back up front, Belkov, Golas and Degnan.
Tell you what, if they slow at the front, which I'm pretty sure they will do with the race leader there, still a few lumps and bumps all the way to the finish, and when they slow up at the front, they could be hit by another attack. So Grabowski's going to have to keep his wits about him, because he's going to be attacked pretty much the whole way in the last 17 kilometres. But again, these three riders of Degnan, Golas and Belkov are hanging in there at 37 seconds.
Duarte still there on his own. Golas really looking like he's starting to suffer a little bit, I might add. His shoulders are absolutely locked solid, almost like he's cramping a little bit. There is that group with Bardet. Oh yes, bang, and away he goes. Now then, any response at all? They're having a look around. Now Gusev, don't forget, is 15th, but 3 minutes and 46 down. I have to keep giving you these checks too, because it's the maths that's being done by the leader. Let's not forget, he's constantly having to ask himself whether there's a danger from any of these guys who go, and this time he's decided not to respond. I think it would have been a big call if he had.
Yeah, that's what I can't understand. He's jumping on Vinokurov. It's probably more of what Vinokurov has done in the past. So, but yeah, he'll let Gusev go further up the order in the general classification. But again, nobody going really anywhere in this downhill section. But good to see Solcano rider up near the front as well in the last 15 kilometres.
Yeah. Well, it's all busting to bits here today. We're loving it with 15 kilometres to go. And still the lead trio have a 35-second advantage over the leader's jersey. But there are riders in between, as you can see, just for now. So ease yourself up and get ready for fireworks. We've got plenty of those already. When we come into town, it's very narrow. So we hope that they have actually strung out a little bit, because 5 paces would get you from one side of the course to the other. It possibly might look a little bit even more narrow once you see the shots from the helicopter as we get to the end of today. And still this trio ride on. It's been solid around about the half-minute mark. It was down to 32 seconds. They pushed it back out to the minute. It's back down to 35. They're doing a great job here. Look at the pace. That's not two Katusha riders. You know what we said about the jerseys. That's one of the Salkana boys, showing the same shoe supplier as Katusha Nemesis, or teammate. Team Type 1 also getting involved here. Defending champion Alexander Efemkin. Hold on to those bars, boys. Just over 32 seconds remaining. Thanks to everyone who's been on Twitter, by the way. It's always good to know you're around here. Colin Disley saying, I hope Gabrowski's win is deserved if he wins. That's what he's alluding to anyway. You'll forgive me for not quoting you directly, Colin, but yes, the questions you're asking are being asked by many people. Paul Kelly. I'm not pronouncing what correctly, Paul. I think Paul Kelly's pretty easy. Anyway, I allude. The page just renewed itself. Here's a bit of renewal as well. Saxo Bank. Have a go. Will it be that they have to wait for their results to come back to them, Saxo Bank? They kind of had the heart ripped out of their team with Contador and the like, but look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're all having a go here. Confusion reigns.
Yeah, it's very confusing at the front. Everybody going on the attack, and yet Grabowski's still just kind of chasing shadows at the front. He's just chasing everybody. Anything that goes, and it's coming back together, going and coming back together. Yet still with 13 kilometres to go, these 3 riders who have done a fantastic ride today, Belkov, Golash and Dagenham, are still hanging in there with 34 seconds, 37 now. All this stop-start stuff from the peloton, they're just going to be hanging there. And all it needs is one team to go to the front, like Green Edge, and kind of bring this race back for a sprint. But we'll continue attacking all the way, and it just goes to show you, in the longest stage of this year's Tour of Turkey, 179 kilometres. It's not easy at all as Badrogi comes to the front for Team Type 1.
Yep, just around 970 metres longer than yesterday, incidentally. So they kept it with a punishing distance. And with the climbs we've got here to deal with as well, you can't see too many of them because it's kind of flattened out by the pictures, but they are having to work hard today. And Farnese Fini hit the front, Katja goes. And, well, just... I'm beginning to feel terribly sorry for Gabrowski. I must admit, he's had to do so much work on his own today. Will they break him? That's the question today with 12 to go. Well, it doesn't look as if they will, and it will be a surprise if the 3 stay out in front with the amount of attacking. Everybody thinking of the stage 1, you're going to get attacking all the way. Somebody might decide to take control, likes of Colnago, who seem to like to do that. Green Edge, we've not seen too many of them, probably sitting down the back, and hopefully we'll get a chance to pick up some of the sprinters. We know that Greipel's there, but he's put in a tremendous effort already, so he'll be kind of smarting from that. But this is just a very difficult day. The accent Jobs jersey in the black and the orange is Leif Host, but again it's the team from Colnago from Italy try to go on the attack, and it's Leif Host that actually brings them back as 4 riders, just attacks himself from the front. Great again to see that Salkano are in there sitting 4th wheel. Colnago have been very much a part of our thoughts during this race. They didn't look like they were going to get much out of it, but then stage victory yesterday, which was wonderful to see. And clearly they're still up for it. 11 kilometres remaining, 3 guys still up the road here, and 31 seconds with, as we pass that 10k to go, Banner, Belkov, Golash and Degnan, and this is the run in. 10k still with some lumps, but it gets faster and faster and faster. By the time we get to the end, it's going to be extraordinarily quick. Do not count out Matt Goss today. Got a pick?
If Goss is there, yeah. I've not had a chance. The cameras haven't gone back to see who's actually there, but this is sort of stage, kind of lumpy finish, hard day that Goss, and same for Renshaw the other day. We had the 1-2, and yeah, I wouldn't put it past this happening again, but we still have to get down there and see what sprinters are left in this race.
Well, we've got a Rabobank rider who's decided to have a look-see here. Can't quite catch out who it is at the moment. Lotto also getting involved. Some big men heading the front here. Look at this snake across the road.
Graham Brown it is for Rabobank, sitting second wheel at the moment. Gusev second, third wheel with for Katusha. The Argos team getting involved, but again, stop, start, and they know that they're going to catch these 3 riders in front, 22 seconds. They can just see them there. All they're thinking about doing is getting a counter-attack. A lot of teams not wanting this to come down to a bunch kick, and that's why they're deciding to go on the attack. Yeah, Fornese hitting out as well. There'll be a lot of this satellite work happening. You never know. It worked yesterday, did it not? There was a rider who just decided to have some ambition and went for it and took the victory. It's a big ask to go on your own from 9 out here. Catches having a look though. Di Corrado isn't that far off the front either, but I think it would have to be a bit more of a climb for him to get involved like he did yesterday. Remaining here, 9 to go. These have been 2 very long back-to-back days here, Brian, and they're certainly going to know about it for the transfers for the sprinting days to finish this tour. Yeah, for a lot of people, 178 kilometres, 179, not the longest of stages, but the roads, the conditions, it's all very sapping, and the riders showing it all written all over their faces at the moment. And again, stop, start, Gusev at the front, Katja went on the attack, still 16 seconds, 9 kilometres to go as the Argos decide to go down the right-hand side. Yes, they do. They have a look around towards where the road breaks up a little bit. Other riders ignoring that. One who is not is the leader. There he is, and Gabrowski has stayed with it. This is remarkable. 9 to go, 16 seconds the gap, and how do you shake a man like this? Well, you can't. He's just tracking the rider in front of him, that's Diachenko of Astana, as we're just about to catch the 3 riders in front of Belkov, Golash and Dignam, and that'll mean that the attacks will continue for the last 8 kilometres, because it's going to be very difficult for one team to control things. So disappointing for Golash, Belkov and Dignam as they're caught with 8 kilometres to go. Yes, 8 to go, and the last man out there is Golash, and he had the most to gain by making that success, and 3 minutes and 2 was his deficit. Well, he's not finished yet. He's not finished yet, absolutely. He's still having a look, but 8 kilometres remaining. I think it's curtains, frankly. Well, you can just see the small gaps between all the riders. They get smaller as you get to the front, but further back, it's a difficult day for all these riders concerned. Most of the GC contenders right up near the front. Bardet's been looking at maybe going on the attack again, sitting third wheel, but it's Argos and your man from Amiga Farmer, Golash, who's pretty much done the ride of today. Certainly has. 8 to go. It's not been slow either. It might well have been reasonably tepid in terms of race temperature, I guess you might say, within the peloton. But yes, for those who have been trying to break it down,
It's been a tough one, really, especially for Turku, and indeed the leader. You've got to give him credit. He's withstood the punches, and there's more to come here. They're coming right now.
Yeah, there's no great strength in numbers for any of the teams, and it's what they've got left in the legs. And like a lot of riders still missing a stage win, and that's why we're seeing so many attacks and nobody able to control this. In any other stage, you'd get some numbers coming to the front, likes of Colnago and maybe Rabobank. But it's been a hard few days here in Turkey, and unbelievable. Golash is still going. Hupont is still in there for Argos. He's the fresher. And just as we say it now that Rabobank come with 7 kilometres to go to try and bring this all back together for a sprint.
Well, Golash was the man with the most ambition today, as we said. He was the highest up of the trio in the rankings. Just 3 minutes and 2 down. And yeah, he's given it a good old go. This is the downhill sections here, and but don't forget the main chasing pack will not only get the advantage of the decline here in the road, the downhill, but they will also have the advantage of being wind protected, some of the quick men here. But they're stepping it up. They want to make this break here. Well, this would be something, especially if Golash holds on here and just gets some time back. Can't see him getting anything near 3 minutes though.
No, it's going to be brought back. Hupont for Argos really trying hard. He's not going to get any help, and that's not a surprise because Golash has done the ride of today. He's been out there the whole time. Just a shake of the head there. He's not going to get any help, and Hupont has to understand that and you know, just put his head down. But it looks as if with 6 kilometres to go, it's Rabobank trying to bring things back for a sprint finish, and I would only think that's for one man, and it's the man that won the other day by 0.0003 of a second. And that's Mark Renshaw. Yeah,
what a finish that was. Second closest finish of all timed cycling. 3/10,000ths of a second. Even on the photo finish, by the way, it was almost indecipherable. Here we go then, 6 to go. And we are well and truly into town. Time to talk about this entree into the finish line area.
Yeah, it's rolling all the way to about 2.5 kilometres. Now you take a left and it's shooting down, twisting all the way down to about the 1 kilometre mark, and then we come into the barriers, and as Carlton said, it's about 5 paces across. It opens up with about 300 metres to go, but there's a kind of left-hander with 100 metres to go. So it's going to be an interesting sprint, but with the speed coming off this climb, it's going to be very fast.
It will be fast, so please just keep your fingers crossed for everybody out there. 5 kilometres, 19 seconds, that's what they've got at the moment. Now, their only advantage is if nobody attacks them, tries to bridge, and it started right now. So not saving their legs. Bataglin has a go here. Just trying to see if there's anyone else going to respond here just behind. Not yet. They're sort of holding station. Some of the quick guys, but there are plenty of them. And here we go. No response from Rabobank just yet. Saxo Bank certainly feel that they've got something today. Wonder if it's not going to. If Knockeroff's not going to be his quickest of days today. It's not. It's so very, very quick. I know one of you earlier on was just calling that you thought it might be his day. Well, you never know. We're not going to count anyone out, especially as Greipel's left some of his legs behind on the hills here. Surely, 5K to go then. And they're starting to look at each other, and here come the chargers, including the leader's jersey, I might add.
Yeah, good effort there by Bataglin for Colnago. Their confidence must be up after winning yesterday, and Bataglin putting himself in a great position. He can sprint, he can climb as well. He's up there in the overall, and Hupont just trying to keep this 3-man breakaway away. But it looks as if we've got a Stanner riding at the front as well to try and come across this small gap. Yeah,
well, I wonder whether it is Vino who's having a look. He's wanted to do the boss's job, really, with so much success coming the way to Astana. We'll try and get a closer look in just a moment's time, see who is where. 4Ks to go then. 11 seconds is the gap. They're holding station here, and it's suddenly going to go very, very quickly into town. Round about the 3 kilometre mark, that is really when you can kick, and it can work for you. Look at this, it's holding. It looks a little bit more than 11 seconds at the moment as well. Just watch that clock. Well, Golas has done a terrific job today. Don't forget, he'll get himself another 10 seconds should he manage to win today. I can't really see it happening, but you know, dreams are not there to be shattered all the time.
Yeah, with these 3 riders in the front, Battling goes again. Hupon just struggling to go with it. Golas doing a terrific ride, just hanging in there. But these last 3 kilometres are going to go very, very quickly. Still, Vinokurov at the front. I noticed that Cameron Meyer moving up the outside. You can just see them in the black and the green on the right-hand side of the bunch as Golas is distance, so did Hupont. And as I said, good rider, Battling. He can win from a sprint, and he can climb, as we showed the other day in the mountain stage. And you know, if he gets to this top corner, he could possibly stay away as Vinokurov swings over, and it's up to some of the other teams to put a couple of riders on the front to bring them back, because he has flown. And dare I say it, if he does get to this final 2.5 kilometres, he could hang on for the win.
Well, his teammate did it yesterday. Can he do it today? We had Di Corrado, who was very, very brave from a long way out. And if everyone else starts looking at each other, then Battling could do it. Another stage win for Colnago here. They can't respond.
At the front of the bunch now, you've got Tekla Hamanot has come to the fore. But we're inside the last 3 kilometres. We're coming up to that left-hand bend, and then it goes downhill very fast towards the finish. 14 seconds inside the last 3 kilometres. I know normally a flat finish that wouldn't be enough, but in this type of finish he could go the whole way.
He can. It's downhill from there's a gentle, if you like, left-hander that he's going to have as Tekla Hamanot just has a look to see where his teammates are, to be honest. Katusha are up here as well. So are Saxo Bank and United Healthcare as well. Maybe thinking of Rob Foster today. Boy Van Poppel perhaps as well. And suddenly they find some pace about themselves here. And Rabobank are just stalking them at the moment. 2 Rabobank riders together. And I think it's Boss and Mark Renshaw. We'll see. Now then, nasty turn for them to deal with. This is the turnaround towards the 2 kilometres to go mark. This nasty left-hander, as we've said, and he is on that downhill section here. Could this be glory once again for Colnago here?
Yeah, looking good. 14 seconds, not a lot inside the last 2 kilometres. With 1 kilometre to go, it levels out a wee bit, but he's got a healthy advantage, and this will catch a lot of the teams out that don't know this finish, and I reckon that he's going to pull off a second win for Colnago.
Well, we spoke to some of the teams and said that from 3Ks, has he taken the camera? Oh my goodness, let's hope that that's safe. He's gone by him. It was the cameraman struggling and getting into the helmet of the rider here, not the bike rider, but the motorcycle rider. 2 to go then, and he's got that super kick that he's been given here. And look at this, he's going to bring it in, I think. This is amazing. Now, it is very, very narrow. It does get technical towards the very end here. Well, he's on his own, so no danger for him. He's just got to take every single corner as he possibly can. And Battling, I think, has actually managed to do this one. He'll take the Flamme Rouge in just a moment's time. 1 to go, and others now have suddenly realised the danger, and away they go.
Well, it's flat at the moment, 1 kilometre to go. He only must have about 10 or 12 seconds, but catching a lot of people out. People now looking behind him. Team Tank 1 up near the front. They've left this too late. We get Katusha near the front. Battling, I think, has got this in the bag.
Well, this looks like it's going to be 2 stage wins for Colnago, and there'll be another roar goes up, I can tell you, as Boss and indeed Renshaw go for this one. But is it all too late for them, I'm afraid? Looking down the road, I think you're going to see the winner. There he is. Oh, they've got a lot of ground to make up. Have they got the pace to do it? I think they're going to run out of road here.
Yeah, well, it's Graham Brown leading out Mark Renshaw. There's still an opportunity down the right-hand side. You've got Brett Lancaster bringing up Goss, so this is going to be very tight, and Battling tying up at the moment, and this is going to be a very interesting sprint between Renshaw and Goss.
It is, and there goes Goss at the moment. He's towards the head here. They have caught up here, believing it extraordinarily late. They're running out of road. Bit of a rough section here. Now then, be careful. There's some big pinch points here. It's not the widest you might have thought. And suddenly off the mark he goes. And Matt Goss has lit it up. But is he going to lose out here? Suddenly, it's United Healthcare that come to the front, and Colnago also
Modolo.
Phenomenal stuff. Whoa, Modolo, Sasha Modolo takes over duties from Battaglin. Sasha Modolo, Colnago, they had something in reserve. It wasn't the legs of Battaglin, it was Sasha Modolo. What a team ride.
Well, we did say Colnago were going to make another win, but Battaglin just tying up big time, and it caught a lot of people out, and Sasha Modolo pulling off another great win for Colnago, and catching Goss on the hop again. Another second place for Matt Goss in the Tour of Turkey.
Modolo takes it. We, for all our lives, thought it would have been Battaglin, but he just ran out of steam. Goss second again. Mark Renshaw third. Lucas Hado in fourth place for Saxo Bank, and Satovic for Katusha fifth. Well, the crowd here duly applauding, and it's another win for Colnago. Amazing, look at this.
Yeah, he just took it from behind, came up the left-hand side, and Matt Goss knew he was beaten, sits up, and the two Aussies who were first and second the other day had to settle for second and third. What a good couple of days for Colnago, winning yesterday. Sasha Modolo not getting up there in any of the sponge sprints at the start of this race, but just showing, you know, you don't get third in Milan San Remo for nothing, and just hitting from behind. Very fast last 2.5 kilometres. I thought Battaglin had enough just to take him towards the finish, but he just tied up in the last 300 metres.
Suckling his thumb, I think that's for his little child. Enrico Battaglin, I don't know whether you saw the pictures on that slow-mo. We might get that close-up heads-on again. Enrico Battaglin just with a huge grin as he saw Modolo just heading off for the win here. And all credit to Colnago. They've done a tremendous team job here. Now then, checks over his shoulder here, and this is where all hell broke loose. Yeah,
just inside 500 kilometres ago. Brett Lancaster leading out Matt Goss, and you've got Renshaw just behind. You've got Coley for Team Type 1, Lucas Heidel just for Saxo Bank, and all looking good at the moment. But just look at the left-hand side. The lead out for Sasha Modolo comes up as one of the other riders jumping onto the wheel. Modolo gets taken right to the front, kind of catches with 300 metres to go, catches Goss in the hop, and takes the inside line, and really Goss had nothing left in his legs to beat the speed of Modolo when it came to the finish.
Well, that inside line as well, we said it was quite technical. That was the curve right at the very end. He got the hoardings, stuck with it, and took victory. Sasha Modolo has won. It's a second stage victory for Colnago. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, they've come good. They always ride well in this race, and you know, what a finish. And his team will be quite rowdy tonight again.
They were last night, I can tell you. Modolo then ahead of Goss, Renshaw in third place, so Aussies 2 and 3. Hado, Lucas Sebastian, that is, in fourth place for Saxo Bank. Katusha and Satovic, Odriato, Farnese Vili. They had some ambitions today as well, finishing ahead of Colli, Vigano, and the remainder. There's the top 20 for you. United Healthcare, it was Rob Foster was the man who just couldn't nail it at the end there, who you may have seen. Phew. Well, that's the King of the Mountains decided anyway today. So that jersey will be handed over. It's looking increasingly like Gobrovsky is going to be champion here, despite the efforts of all of the team. There's a happy boy in the bright sunshine. Nice team to be in at the moment. Great atmosphere, and they've done a terrific job. We thought they'd done a bit too much in the early part of this Tour of Turkey, and then all of a sudden they get a couple of stage wins back to back.
Yeah, well, I was saying that the other day. Sometimes all the hard work pays off, and you know, it has done. They've changed the tactics around, got somebody in the breakaway. Quite fortunate today, but they did put a couple of riders on the front to bring the three riders back of Belkov, Golash and Diagnum. So a great effort, and I just feel a wee bit sorry for his teammate. Battaglin done the right thing, as we've just seen Theo Boss now finishing, and yeah, he done the right thing. Going for it, and just when we come onto the flat with just about 500 metres ago, his legs went, couldn't carry it on, but a very fast finish.
Thanks to everyone who's joined us on Twitter today. It's a pleasure to have your company. Despite all of your efforts, it has been because of all your efforts, I think it's been a terrific day. You saw just how rough that road was. His back wheel just spat out. Great bike handling. He really was taking some tremendous speed. We said it was technical, it turned out to be, and he rode it in.
So this is
TRT HD. It's also available in high definition on Eurosport. You need the signal, of course, and Turkish radio television have been providing that to us. Some terrific pictures. I know that a lot of you have been appreciating it. If you can afford HD, cycle racing really is enhanced enormously by it, especially the vistas that we get. It's like a tour in your own living room. So the lovely Harbourside's reception area, and this was at the moment of victory.
He's won this about 10 times already.
Has, yeah. We're waiting to see if we can get a chat with him, but I think it's going to be too long. We may have to take our leave. Hope to catch up with you wherever you can find us over the weekend. Another win for Colnago. Today, it's Modolo.
in a second we will be ready for the official award ceremony.
There's a Colnago fan. Oh, bless him. There you go. Yes, and another look at one of the fabulous fortified moments. Don't forget, you can keep in touch with us on, I understand, International Eurosport 2 tomorrow. Eurosport 1 and British. I think you may well have to join us with highlights. However, just check your listings, would you? Because my notes on this have disappeared. But there you go. Nonetheless, we will be live tomorrow at 1400 Central European Time. So do root about and find us. Gabrovski is there, and he is our leader and holds on to that 1 minute and 33 advantage over Jashenko and Denali Petrov. Bulgarians 1 and 3. So, terrific day in the sunshine again. It was brutal, wasn't it? Especially if you happen to be the leader. Can he sustain his fortitude over the next couple of days and hold on to the leader's turquoise jersey? Well, we're about to find out. Hope you can join us for it. From me, Carlton Kirby, and from Brian Smith. Thanks for coming along for the ride. We'll see you tomorrow, and indeed on Sunday.